I was like, okay, do I have good karma? Do I have bad karma? Why would I have bad karma? I started taking stock of my life and the things I'd done and the things I hadn't done, how I was with people. If there's one thing that's followed Shannen Doherty around her entire life, it's drama. The actress has been fired from several projects because of her attitude and constant headbutting with her co-stars. She was labeled as difficult to deal with because whatever project she was working on, she always somehow managed to stir the pot with someone else on set. From feuds with other actors to numerous arrests, for a moment, it was almost as though she was one of Hollywood's most hated actresses. After battling cancer for the second time, Doherty was forced to look back on her life and her behavior and realized that perhaps what was happening to her was karma. Remember to subscribe to Rumour Juice, and if you want to be the first to know when we upload new content, then hit the notification bell too. Shannen is probably most well known for her character of Brenda Walsh on the hit 90s teen drama 90210.
Although going fishing with you was definitely one of the best times I had all year.
Better than starring in the play?
Close.
But the actress was no stranger to life on set and had been working as an actor from the tender age of 8. However, she was put under a lot of pressure from her family after her mother suffered from a brain aneurysm, and her father had a stroke and lost his job. Though her parents both survived their health scares, the family was left with no income, and the pressure was on Shannen to support her family financially as a child actor at just 10 years old. Thanks to her talent, the young Shannen started booking guest spots in TV shows like Voyagers and Airwolf. It's impossible to imagine the pressure she must have felt at such a young age to be the breadwinner for her family. She did whatever she could to make sure she was taken seriously and put everything she had into all of her auditions. From then, she started to book more serious roles and won an award for her part in Little House on the Prairie. Then came the big one, 90210. Shannen was propelled into the spotlight and her new celebrity status was completely overwhelming. By the 3rd season of the show, she was a household name and the show was a hit. Paparazzi were everywhere, and the actress couldn't go anywhere without being swarmed by flashing lights or screaming fans. Despite having worked as an actress for many years, 90210 brought a new level of stardom that Shannen had no idea how to handle. Instant fame was really tough for the actress to come to terms with. Fans would show up at her house uninvited. She described waking up one morning to find paparazzi trying to take pictures of her through her bedroom window. She bought a big guard dog that she could take with her wherever she went so that she could feel more safe and prevent unwanted people away from her. Even at the high school where 90210 was being filmed, students would walk by and call her a bitch because they were incapable of separating Shannen from her role of Brenda. It was perhaps during this time that Shannen also struggled to differentiate herself from her role in the show, and she started to rebel. The actress had also never gotten the chance to really be a young and rebellious teenager because she had worked her whole life in order to support her family. It seems like the pressures of being a star and having her life in the spotlight were starting to take a negative effect on the actress. At the age of 21, she was being forced to grow up too soon and behave in a specific way in the public eye. She'd had enough of always being the good girl and wanted to be more like Brenda, who didn't care about what she said or did to other people. She started to spend late nights out partying and drinking with her co-star and close friend Tori Spelling. However, one night out quickly turned sour when Shannen was arrested and charged with battery after getting into a fight at one of the nightclubs. Soon, her name was all over the tabloids, and if there's one thing that the press can't resist, it's a bad girl out on the loose. Everything she did was being scrutinized by the press. One evening, she had even tried to run over a paparazzi with her car who had been pestering her the whole night. Problems started to arise from every corner. She was suddenly facing financial problems herself and was sued for writing over $31,000 worth of bad checks. She wasn't paying rent at her apartment. Her credit cards were being left unpaid. Perhaps it was because the actress was tired of having to be the responsible one all the time. And for once, she didn't want to have to be responsible for anything, not even herself. It also seemed as though Shannen didn't care about anything anymore. Her biggest challenges were only just beginning, and soon her rebellion started to take a toll on her career and love life. When Doherty met Dean Factor, it was an instant connection. The couple got engaged after just a few short months of dating while they were both still swooning over the bubble of their passionate romance. Sadly, that bubble quickly exploded into violence, and their hands that were once touching one another with tenderness turned into angry fists of rage. Dean would show up at work covered in scratches and bruises, and Shannen arrived on set one day with a black eye. The violence turned so bad between the two that after calling off their engagement, Dean ordered a restraining order from Shannen, claiming that she had pulled a loaded gun on him and said, "I'll drop you." She had also thrown a log through his window to get into his house and allegedly attempted to run him over with her car. Naturally, the tabloids ate up everything they could about the story and labeled Shannen out of control. Her reputation was being dragged through the mud, but she didn't let on that it was affecting her one bit. The actress continued with her role on 90210 and seemed as though nothing had happened. In fact, Shannen quickly moved on to dating actor Ashley Hamilton, and after just 2 weeks, they got married. It was as though she was seeking solace from all the constant drama and finding a man that would love her and perhaps ground her or give her a reason to slow down. Amidst all the constant tabloid drama, Shannen just wanted a man to love and settle down with, and desperately hoped that Ashley was the one. Tension soon started to rise on the set of 90210, with Shannen often at the center of the problem. She would arrive late on set, not know her lines, and stirred fights with other actors on the show. Years later, she even admitted, "There's no other word for it. I was an asshole." Eventually, producer of the show, Aaron Spelling, who was also Tori Spelling's father, wouldn't tolerate Shannen's attitude and tardiness any longer. He called the actress in for a meeting and told her that her time on the show was done, and her character would be written off. Doherty brushed it off like it was no big deal, and said that leaving the show would be best for her anyway because she wanted to focus more on her marriage and move on to bigger and better projects. But the show fans were not fooled by Shannen's departure, and while producer Spelling never disclosed the details of their meeting to the public, everyone knew that it was the actress's behavior that brought her time on the hit show to an end. Unfortunately, her relationship with Ashley came to an end too after just 195 days of marriage. She was outspoken, demanded what she wanted, and competitive, especially with her fellow co-star Jennie Garth. In hindsight, perhaps Shannen was deemed as difficult to work with and a prima donna because she was an outspoken woman on set. And back in the 90s, it was men who had the final say. She knew what she wanted and she wouldn't accept any less. So people who worked with her found her stubborn. But does that make her a diva? Or a strong woman that people didn't know how to handle? During that time, not only actresses, but women in general didn't have much of a say in the workspace. They were supposed to do what they were told and do it with a smile on their face. They were supposed to be sweet, well-behaved, vulnerable, innocent, and not give their own opinions. So when Doherty was doing the exact opposite of that, she was labeled as a diva, rather than a strong woman. The following years after 90210, the actress's career fluctuated. She was briefly engaged to Rob Weis for 2 years, but sadly, that was just as fleeting as her previous relationships. Finally, just as Doherty was beginning to fear that she was fading into the background, she was cast in the TV show Charmed. She played the role of the older sister of 3, Prue, alongside fellow actresses Alyssa Milano and Holly Marie Combs.
Come on, we'll face them together. Do you remember the spare board? The inscription on the back. The power of 3 will set us free.
The show was a huge hit and fans fell in love with the 3 Halliwell witch sisters. At first, it seemed that the 3 actresses were getting along well. Unfortunately, the set of Charmed was soon tainted with drama, and Doherty often clashed with her co-star Milano. After 3 seasons, Alyssa approached the producers of the show and said that if Doherty wasn't going to leave the show, she would. So, once again, Doherty's character was written off the show and the actress was asked to leave. Following the arrest for driving under the influence, another failed marriage, this time to Rick Salomon, and an attempt at a reality TV show that was cancelled after only 1 season, Doherty's career stalled and it seemed like she had nowhere left to go. Thankfully, in 2011, things started to take a more positive turn when she met photographer Kurt Iswarienko. They married and he seemed to ground Shannen in a way no one else had managed to do. Something had changed in the actress and everyone else could see it too. If you watch, you're going to see that it's an incredibly different relationship. Ours wasn't a quickie marriage. Tragically, in 2015, Doherty announced that she was battling breast cancer. The unknown is always the scariest part. Is the chemo going to work? Is the radiation going to work? Am I going to have to go through this again, or am I going to get secondary cancer? Sadly, Doherty's fear of secondary cancer came true, and after 3 years in remission, she was fighting the same battle yet again. I definitely have days where I say, why me? And then I go, well, why not me? Who else? Who else besides me deserves this? None of us do.
I would say that my first reaction is always concern about how am I going to tell my mom, my husband.
You're worried about everyone else around you.
I think so.
There's no doubt that Shannen has had to face numerous scandals in her life, but if there's one thing she has admitted, it's that fighting the life-threatening battle with cancer has changed who she is for the better. She's been able to look back at her life and make amends with those she hurt, and rekindle relationships with co-stars from her previous shows. Shannen has no bad blood and for now is taking the time to focus on her health and spending time with her family. She's fought this battle before, and she can do it again, because Shannen takes no prisoners.